Walking, more walking, mile after mile, day after day. This is the Camino Portuguese, my second Camino. I started in Lisbon. Everyone warned me to start in Porto. They said Lisbon to Porto just wasn't that interesting. They were right. And they were wrong. Lisbon is obviously a great city to visit. My daughter came from a vacation in Spain to see me off. We did great walks around the city, and we took a tuk-tuk tour for a day before she had to leave, and I had to start my journey. Lisbon is a city that doesn't seem to end. It's beautiful, it's loud, and occasionally you'll see a native. But as I was told by many Portuguese on my walk, this capital is no longer a part of Portugal. It's been lost to the tourist. Not a horrible fate, but on my Camino, I'll get to see a deeper view of this country and its people. You see a lot while walking 413 miles north to Santiago de Compostela in Spain, and beyond that to Finesterra, or the end of the world as the Romans called it. And you meet many people from every inhabited continent they come to walk. Well, my first 3 days I didn't meet any other pilgrims, but it quickly grew to a small band. There never were the hordes of the Camino Frances. Part of the reason for that is I was traveling mostly in October, a little late in the season. I never had problems getting a bed in an albergue. Heck, I was even able to always get my preferred bottom bunk. The walking at first was pretty urban. Leaving Lisbon is a mile-long boardwalk. Easy walking in the beautiful Tagus River to my right. Wild flamingos flock, people fish. Eventually you come across new resort towns being built, and then suburbs, and slowly small villages open up. You always look for the yellow arrows to show you the way, a feeling of relief when you spot the next one. Occasionally you miss one and find yourself on a dangerous road. A look at the Camino Ninja app's map and you correct at the next intersection. The arrows are your lifeline. For the Portuguese, you actually have two colors of arrows. The yellow is sometimes joined by a blue arrow to show the way of another pilgrimage to Fatima, a place where Catholics believe the Virgin Mary appeared in 1917. I did not go to Fatima, and the blue arrows diverge from the yellows in Santarém. Around the town of Tomar, the blue arrows are now opposite the yellows as Fatima pilgrims from the north head toward their goal. Fatima is extremely popular for the Portuguese. Many youth groups walk it starting in Porto. They frequently have the good sense to wear safety vests. Passing pilgrims walking the other way is a bit disconcerting at first. Is one of us going in the wrong direction? Through cities and towns you continue your trek. Sadly, many forests had burned just 3 weeks prior to my walk. It left an eerie charged shadow of what was beautiful before. Puddles were deep, your shoes were getting wet. As an alternate starting point, I will point to Coimbra. It is an extra 2 weeks from Porto. Portugal's third largest city is a university town that should not be overlooked. Leaving Coimbra, I hooked up with a group of software engineers who were inventing their own Camino of 15 miles or so to Melhada. They walked to build their appetite for the area's famous suckling pig roast. They were kind enough to let me tag along and enjoy their special feast with them. It was delicious. They take a train back, I continue on. Around this time, Hurricane Kirk was hitting Portugal, and we pilgrims were feeling its effects. Rain was happening daily. Twice I cheated with a group of other pilgrims to Uber and avoid the storm's strong winds and driving rains. In all, I bypassed about 30 miles in the comfort of 2 sedans. To be clear, others persisted in battling the elements. I caved the 2 times when it stopped being fun and started my walk again the next day. The rain I could handle. The storms were not worth it. to me and my fellow cheating friends. They say to walk your own Camino, and I did. One day that I did walk from Navarrete was so bad I worried about others that were struggling fording raging streams. Everyone seemed to make it safely. It was nice that the only true albergue meal was waiting for us in Ponte Verde. Finally, a sense of community. Well, actually, we had made our own community. For several meals, I feasted with a wonderful group that included Italians and their cooking prowess. We had spaghetti, carbonara, pizza, other wonderful Italian food, chip in the cost of ingredients, and we had great meals like a 3-star Michelin restaurant, and great stories that make a Camino special. This was the community that every pilgrim seeks, the reason you would do it once and come back and do it again. It is amazing how a shared goal, multiplied by hours and days and shared living quarters, bonds you to the others suffering and enjoying just like you. This is the Camino de Santiago. It's not the places, but the spirit of the people walking it. People you would pass by at home, you get to know and admire. Walking for miles with a person is the ultimate low-speed attachment. Thank you to all I got a chance to know. I took a 2-day break in Porto, where once again I was amazed at the number of tourists. There's even the world's fanciest McDonald's here, and only in Portugal is soup on the menu. I check out the train station, where I'm not the only one taking pictures of it. I see the beautiful riverbanks where everything is bustling, and I meet a young entrepreneur who's made a very special barbershop. Leaving Porto, we pass the airport and walk along more beach boardwalks. Men play foot volley, people fish. Seaside rest spots have many customers. After a few days, I made it to the Vigo River that separates Portugal and Spain. Many bridges are crossed, and the final bridge to enter Spain, you can straddle the two countries. Eventually, I make it to the destination, Santiago de Compostela. But for now, it is just a way station. I continue on to the most wonderful part of my 2 Caminos and spend 4 days extending my walk to Finesterra. Here is much natural beauty and fewer man-made sights. You see many of the Galatian elevated grain storage known as Horreos. You walk through forest and pastures. Crossing over mountains put me in a cloud that dropped visibility to 20 feet. The albergues were more crowded on the way to the coast, but still manageable. Eventually you get to the Atlantic Ocean, beaches and fishermen on the horizon. You make your way to the lighthouse where waves crash over the rocks and pilgrims and tourists mix to take it all in with awe. There's even a sign to grab a photo showing 0 further kilometers. I take a bus back to Santiago. Amazing to have 4 days of walking done in 2 hours by machine. Once in Santiago again, I begin to document the pilgrims' glee and emotion having completed their journey. All ages and nationalities are overwhelmed by their accomplishment. They pose, they hug, they cry. Completing another Camino for me is pure satisfaction, something I get to smile about for the rest of my years. Difficult, frustrating, and so rewarding.
Buen camino.
Buen camino.